on this episode of RPA, an incredibly rare event.
She said, hold on a second, I can see another heartbeat.
But as Danielle's precious triplets arrive,
here you come.
We've got a first little person coming to meet you.
There's a big problem. Revolutionary surgery.
Unfortunately, it was too late getting to the specialist.
Gives Sharon a fighting chance at life.
Those are scary odds, but I'm happy with them.
And the terrible twos. As little Tom discovers playtime isn't all fun.
The two bones in the forearm, they're basically 90 degrees to how they're meant to be.
Did that at Nan's?
And look what else.
What's that one?
That's Daddy.
That's Daddy. Isn't it beautiful, Dad? That's you.
Danielle and Nick had a simple desire to expand their family.
Nick had always said he only wanted 2 children. I always wanted 3. After years of talking about it, eventually I was like, fine, we can just have 2.
It's been anything but simple.
Yeah.
Having Billy, we had no problems falling pregnant, so deciding to have another baby, I was quite confident that everything would go okay and we wouldn't have any troubles. So I was really surprised and heartbroken when we went to our first scan to find out that there wasn't a heartbeat, which was really hard. So as soon as we got through that, as soon as the doctor said, you can try again, we did. And I was devastated to have it happen again for the second time.
It's a bit like a rollercoaster, ups and downs, and you know, you have the happiness of finding out that you're pregnant and you start thinking about names and like all that sort of stuff. And then to find out that it's not happening anymore, like it's a bit of a hit.
Even after 2 miscarriages, Danielle and Nick, a former combat soldier, weren't about to give up on their dreams of a bigger family.
And we both agreed, let's try one more time and whatever happens, happens. Found out we were pregnant and we made it to 7 weeks and decided to go for our first scan, which we were really nervous about. So I said to the doctor, I'm really nervous, I just want to make sure that the baby is okay. So she put the scan straight on my tummy. She said, look, I can see a heartbeat. Everything's okay. So I looked at Nick, we were holding hands and we were really relieved. And then she said, hold on a second, I can see another heartbeat. And I looked at Nick and he was about to faint. He was sweating, very stressed. And I said, it's okay, it's twins, it's gonna be okay. And then we were just chatting about that. And then she said, hold on a second, there's a 3rd heartbeat.
It was a massive shock, but like a good one. But it just took a little while to get used to the whole concept that there was going to be 3 coming.
It did feel like the other 2 sort of said, hey, we're coming too, and you didn't lose us, and this is what's meant to be. Ow, he got me.
Yeah.
Danielle and Nick are expecting identical twin girls and a boy. It's an incredibly rare and high-risk pregnancy.
Yeah, so when the doctors chatted to us about having triplets, you know, they warned us of all the risks and complications that can come with that, which was really, really overwhelming. And I think ultimately we both decided we need to support each other and go with it and see what happens.
25 weeks later, Danielle and Nick are preparing for their family to double in size overnight. They've already chosen names, but for now, that information is classified.
We've sort of started to set it up and prepare as much as we can. We have some nappies, we've got some more nappies, some wipes. Just thinking about all the things we needed with Billy, we had to just triple it and, yeah, be really prepared, but I'm sure we're going to need a lot more once they arrive.
Which is where Nick's military background may come in handy.
I think there will be some skills or techniques that I've learnt through those jobs that will like carry over, because it will be a huge sort of operation, having the 3 of them at once.
I'm sure he'll have all the nappies and the wipes and everything set out, and we can just have an operation running smoothly.
See how we go.
Danny and Nick's triplets are due to arrive by Caesarean birth in just a few days. 7 weeks premature.
One thing that this whole journey has really shown us is that you can try and plan your life and prepare as much as you want, and at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter because you don't have much of a say. And yeah, it's gonna bring a lot of joy, I think.
Yeah.
RPA's location, right on the edge of the CBD, means the emergency department sees a little bit of everything.
I think one of the most exciting parts of my job is never knowing what's coming through the door in the emergency department. I think that's the reason why most emergency doctors do what we do.
One of the biggest groups of patients are the littlest, kids.
Kids love to be out and about. They love to be on their skateboards in the basketball court. And so we see a lot of orthopaedic type injuries, of breaks and sprains and dislocations. So that's part of our bread and butter.
So you just got a little chip in your joint there. Down here, it's not sore?
Not sure.
They often give you the most joy on your shift to be able to make them feel a bit better. And so tangibly watch them improve and smile and laugh. It's a privilege.
Today, the team in emergency are caring for 2-year-old Tom, whose mum Julia suspects has broken his arm.
He was climbing up a climbing frame and slipped and fell on the ground.
Tom is the youngest of Julia's 3 boys under 7, so she knows her way around this ED.
We've been to RPA emergency a couple of times, but not for a break.
Even little things like injuries, their x-rays look very different because of growth plates. You need to be well trained and understand these pathologies. You can't just be adult trained and expect to be able to identify these things in kids.
The 2 bones in the forearm, they're basically 90 degrees to how they're meant to be. There's a lot of nerves and arteries in there that could be compromised, and the arm is basically that bent. So we need to straighten it up to make sure that there's no potential issues in there.
As breaks go, this is a bad one and very distressing for little Tom.
He was in a lot of pain when he arrived, and he was crying a lot.
We've given him ketamine, which is brilliant in terms of giving pain relief as well as sedating him so that he isn't aware of what's going on as we straighten out his arm. This is not a sedation. We're expecting the patient to be sort of unconscious and asleep. Eyes are open, but nobody's home.
Hi. Hey, buddy. So brave.
With Tom now out to it, they get to work.
So now that the orthopods are doing something called a closed reduction with Tom, they're trying to reduce the fracture back down to its anatomical alignment. First you pull it, then you make the fracture worse, then you pull it back down to straighten it and try to realign it anatomically.
On tiny patients like Tom, it's delicate work. Any nerve or artery damage could send him straight to theatre. Danielle, who is pregnant with triplets, has been unexpectedly admitted to hospital.
This morning, she just said that she started feeling some pain in her tummy and her back. She called up the hospital and they said, come in. I was sort of coming to terms with him coming next Tuesday, and I'd prepared for that in my head. Just want to see Danny, make sure she's all right. I'm excited, but scared, so.
She's being looked after by a specialist obstetric and fetal medicine team.
Like we said, we'll just need to check that there's no signs of kind of a developing early labour or that your cervix is starting to open a bit earlier. We had some concern that she might be going into a preterm labour, which would have meant doing a more emergency type caesarean. Triplets is always a high risk scenario, and from the perspective of an obstetrics team requires a lot of specialty care.
When obstetrician Dr. Lauren Ferris delivers the triplets, they'll still be 7 weeks premature.
2 of the babies are identical, so generally that would have been an early separation of the one fertilised egg into 2 little people, and the other one was a separate one. That in itself is a very rare event, but then the fact that they all managed to implant in the uterus and then continue to go through the pregnancy is an exceptionally rare event.
Hello.
Hi.
Good.
There's a number of things, a number of complications that can occur, and so it's very common for these women to be delivered quite early in the pregnancy.
As the team continue to monitor Danielle, they arrange an ultrasound to also check on the triplets' well-being.
Feel a bit lightheaded.
An unplanned early labour could result in breathing difficulties and potential brain bleeds.
What's the plan? Are they...
So I was booked for delivery next Tuesday, but now...
It looks like...
Yeah.
It's not gonna be Tuesday.
Yeah.
Good. In terms of the two babies sharing the placenta, there are unique complications that can happen that can result, unfortunately, in the loss of one or both of the babies at any stage through the pregnancy.
58-year-old trauma nurse Sharon has gone from carer to patient. She has a large, aggressive tumour in her colon, which she only discovered when it spread lower and she sat on it.
I got in the car one day and I just flew straight back out the car because I actually thought I had sat on a dog ball. It's 5 centimetres, so it's kind of about the size of a golf ball.
15,000 Australians a year are diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and too often, because of embarrassment, they're reluctant to seek help early.
Unfortunately, because I was too late getting to the specialists, it has hit the venous system in my bowel lining. So that means it's gone through the bowel itself and outside. For me as a nurse, I know what that means.
It means the prognosis could not be any worse. Together with her daughter Jessica, Sharon is meeting with colorectal cancer specialist Dr. Kirk Austin.
Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
Happy with me. Sharon's tumour is arising in her rectum. It has also spread beyond the wall of the bowel into local lymph nodes in her pelvis and towards the gynecological structures in her pelvis.
And then you see another hot spot here.
If you just treat it with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, you have a 0% chance to be alive within 4 to 5 years.
So surgery is Sharon's only hope. And up until recently, it wasn't even an option.
Going beyond the normal anatomical planes of the pelvis means that the tumours extend into the areas where most surgeons don't normally go to. And in these areas, you have major blood vessels, nerves, bones, really important structures.
But now, RPA is at the very forefront of revolutionising this complex surgery.
And if we were to remove that tumour with a clear margin, there's up to a 60% chance that you'll be alive in 5 years. And your quality of life should be good.
For Sharon, a mum of 3 and grandmum of 3 more, they're devastating odds, but better than they have ever been.
We can't cure you with chemotherapy and radiotherapy. And we know by, on average, 4 years, you won't be alive.
I really didn't actually want to know that.
29-year-old Danielle is pregnant with rare triplets. They'll be born 7 weeks premature, but they're now threatening to arrive even earlier.
Is that a good time to talk?
Yes.
I'm Angelica.
Hi, Angelica.
We're both in pink.
I
Look
know,
at
I was gonna
us.
say we
Nice to meet you.
Dr. Angelica Zankel will be in charge of caring for the triplets once they're born.
It is unusual to have triplets, even for us. It comes with its own challenges, a multiple birth, and it starts with logistics. We need to have 3 beds, 3 teams of nurses, 3 teams of doctors. We need to be ready. This needs to be a planned procedure, not something that should fall upon us at 2 a.m. in the morning. I would very much prefer this to be happening in an organized way.
Can you walk with me?
Yes, I can.
Would that be possible?
That's fine.
I'll take you down to the NICU.
This is the specialist unit that will become the baby's home until their full term.
So this is intensive care. Yeah.
NICU is Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, an abbreviation for a unit where we look after sick newborns. It's essentially like the adult ICU. It's an ICU intensive care unit for babies.
Each of them will have their own space, their own team to look after them.
I think once they first go into NICU, they may need to go on the breathing machines, but the doctor said it's very dependent on how they come out, what size they are and how they're all doing. So they're just going to wait and see, once they're born, what the babies need.
Nothing is more worrisome than the unknown for a mother who has just given birth. And that is very frightening for parents.
In the beginning, we'll probably have more monitoring and more visibility of them than later on when we know they are doing fine.
Yeah. Things should go well. And, you know, most of the time they do. And sometimes they don't. And for those times, we need to be ready to give the baby and the family the best care we can possibly give.
What I would try to do is to keep your 3 babies together.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a bit hard and we might not guarantee that.
Yeah.
But that is the goal.
I'll still be in the operating theatre because it'll be delivery by C-section. So the overwhelming feeling of me still being there and the baby's going, I think that's hard to think about.
The babies are in open.
Women later on tell me that this moment of handing over and of feeling empty and not seeing their child is hard for them.
Oh, I make you cry.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm emotional.
Oh my God.
I think the most overwhelming part of the babies being in NICU is the fear of what could go wrong and potentially us not being there with them all the time. I'm not sure how we'll feel about that. And just having to say goodbye at the end of each day and come home without them. I think that'll be really hard to get through.
Escort you back up?
I can imagine myself just crying, knowing me, but yeah, we'll get through it.
2-year-old Tom broke both bones in his forearm during a nasty fall off a climbing frame. He may look awake, but he's heavily sedated as the RPA emergency team attempt to reset his fractures.
First you pull it, then you make the fracture worse, and then you pull it back down to straighten it.
The realignment has gone better than they'd hoped.
He's tolerated the sedation really well. And we're now just going to cast him up so that the alignment is held in place.
In fact, so well, there's even more good news for Mum.
The beauty of 2-year-olds is that they remodel so beautifully anyway.
And so he doesn't need surgery?
No.
No. Okay.
So next steps is just to wait for him to fully wake up.
Who are these people? Yeah, the hospital.
Basically, after a sedation, you want everyone to be able to wake up, walk and eat. And once he's up and about, he can go home.
One last X-ray confirms Tom's fractured bones are now back where they should be. He thinks he's in the clear.
This is the worst of it.
But there's still that irritating cannula to get out of his hand.
And that's it. There you go, done. There's absolutely nothing, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh. And then we can get you home.
It's been a tough afternoon for Tom. It's fair to say he's had enough of the ED. So just 2 hours after he arrived, a tired Tom is on his way home. Over in the neonatal unit, it's all hands on deck.
Morning, everyone. It's a big day for us today. Who's the night team? Who's working?
The intensive care team are having one last run-through before the risky and complicated arrival of rare triplets.
We are all ready. We know that triplet 1 is going to be in bed 6, triplet 2 in bed 7, and triplet 3 in bed 8. And we've got ventilators ready, CPAP ready. Excellent. Hopefully we will not need them.
Hopefully not.
Despite earlier fears, Danielle and Nick have made it to their planned Caesarean date. Their babies will be delivered today, 7 weeks premature.
We've got Jade, Danielle Hall and Kim Sutter.
Yep.
And then Lydia, Nicole and Natalia will be admitting the babies.
Perfect.
The military-style operation may be in full swing, but former combat soldier Nick is appearing a little shell-shocked.
I'll be all right.
You're going to faint.
Oh.
The doctor told me, make sure your husband eats before the operation because dads are notorious for fainting. And I said to Nick, that's his one job, but he forgot to eat. So now I'm worried about him. He's too nervous. I said, pull it together. I need you.
Just what the doctor ordered.
In the operating theatre, Dr. Zankel is ensuring every medical option is available once the triplets are born.
So here we've got the resuscitator.
So this one's going into this space.
There are 3 different babies. Just because they are triplets does not mean they all behave the same.
Okay, triplet 1 here. Let's turn the resuscitator on. Okay. We are always prepared for worst case scenario. The risk for the babies are primarily respiratory. You need to transition from a dark place, from a warm place, into this bright world where you have to breathe air and to fill your lungs with air.
I'm not nervous. Like, I think you should always be careful going into any kind of surgery. You should be thinking about, you know, the steps that you're doing, what you would do if something happened that wasn't expected. We know that it's a really special time in people's lives, and I'm always mindful that, you know, it's a huge change for these guys, and that we're part of that, and that's really special.
During the surgery, Danielle will be conscious, feeling nothing from the waist down due to a spinal anaesthetic.
You don't feel the surgery, you don't feel the pain, but you do feel some things, okay? Especially when they're getting baby out, they're pulling up, and you're not numb up there, so you feel sometimes stretching and pulling. In general, very, very, very safe. Okay, that you're going to experience are all normal. But just talk to us and we'll talk you through it. So we'll bring you inside.
We keep patients awake wherever we can for caesarean sections because the medication that we need to put people to sleep would also then transfer to the babies and make them sleepy, and because we want mums to be awake when they experience the birth of their babies.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Good luck, baby.
And we're gonna get you to stay here for about 15-20 minutes while we do the spinal.
Yep.
Once we're ready, we'll get you inside.
Yep. All right.
Can we see?
So we kiss her with the mask on. I love you. Okay. Okay. See you, babe. Love you. Just let us read the frames. It's hard seeing her like get wheeled in there, and yeah, just so much going on. It looks chaotic in there. I mean, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure that everyone knows what's going on, but it just looks like, yeah, very daunting.
This is quite tight.
Danny's been the brave one, and she's just in there giggling and excited, and I'm the stress head, just worrying out here, so, yeah.
The birth of Danielle and Nick's preterm triplets, identical twin girls and a boy, is just moments away.
Oh, yep, going in. How'd you go, sweetie?
Oh.
Feel all right?
Got really sick.
Did ya?
Yep, we're getting started. So we're just through the first few layers onto the sheath here.
Obstetrician Dr. Lauren Ferris will deliver the babies.
All's going well, Danielle, okay? You're doing so well.
Then the neonatal intensive care team, led by Dr. Angelica Zankel, will take over.
Okay, Danielle, not long now. Okay, yeah. Okay, we've got a little head here.
Having suffered 2 previous miscarriages, Danielle and Nick have been desperate to grow their family. This moment is everything for them.
We've got a first little person coming to meet you.
Yep.
Have a look. Oh.
First to arrive.
You guys ready to see? Okay. It's one little girl. This was the head down little girl, okay? Okay.
Oh, she's
beautiful. Hello, beautiful little girl. Oh,
hello. Hello.
You were first. You're first.
What do you want to call that one?
Yeah? Okay, so that's 30 seconds. Thanks, guys. The small clip. Yep. Okay, we're ready with a second little person. Are you guys ready to see a second? Yeah. Guess what, guys? The little boy's next. Hello.
And only minutes later, her younger brother makes his entrance. The last triplet to arrive, another precious daughter.
Hi, Peppa. Hi, baby. Oh. Okay.
Just overwhelmed. Just grateful that they're all out and they're all breathing. They're all cute. And Danny's good.
I feel very relieved, and it was so nice to have a cuddle and see them cry, and they're beautiful. Just really happy.
But Nick and Danny's joy is short-lived. Their baby boy is now struggling to breathe.
There is the potential for more complications with a caesarean surgery when there's multiple babies involved. And so I think you should always have a plan in mind that if things don't go quite right, or if you're experiencing a complication, what steps you would take to manage that.
How are they?
They got air oxygen on them, but...
What's wrong?
Hey?
What's wrong?
Oh, just scared because they're little and they're still doing, working on them, but...
You have to be prepared to do resuscitation when you have a baby that doesn't breathe at all and needs the whole team to give that respiratory support. But you have to be prepared for all eventualities.
What we are giving now is some CPAP. You've seen that he's, recessing a bit, he's breathing a bit fast.
Yeah.
And so this will just help him to clear his lung fluid.
Okay.
We should be patient. He's only 7 minutes old. He doesn't need to win the race just yet.
But with the two girls now also fighting for breath, plans start to change on the run.
The skin-to-skin is not going to happen with you.
Yeah.
We will get to our own environment in the unit.
Yeah.
And what we will do, we will take a thin catheter and give them surfactant in the lungs, and then put them onto CPAP. So all of this is going to happen for all three.
Yeah.
I thought they might be okay adapting just with CPAP, but they need a little bit more intensive help, and that's what we are going to do. They're both recessing a bit, so we are not going to do skin-to-skin with mum. We are going to take the babies to the nursery right away.
58-year-old Sharon's aggressive cancer has spread throughout her body. The surgery she requires to remove it is so extensive, it wasn't even an option until recently.
I feel good that she's gone in, actually. Kind of feels like we're progressing, and that's good. One step at a time.
It's expected the operation will take around 10 hours. The surgical team will remove multiple organs from Sharon's pelvic region. This complex procedure has been months in the planning.
Techniques to sort of dissect those areas have evolved here at RPA, and that has really put this hospital on the international stage for this sort of surgery.
And considering the extent of everything he must remove today, Dr. Kirk Austin is determined to leave as much as he can intact.
That's such a nice tattoo around the belly button. So what we might do is not to disrupt that. So I'm going to go straight through it, and then at the end we'll make sure we close that back so it looks exactly the same.
Getting a clear margin of cancer-free tissue around the tumour will mean cutting into the pelvis itself.
You either need to take the bone, the major nerves which supply the legs, or major blood vessels.
When everything is ready, it's time to cut the pelvis.
Yes, at that point it does get a bit exciting, but there's also a calmness to the situation. Most surgeons love to operate, and that's why we do it. It's because you're actually helping people. There's a problem, you fix it, people get better.
So we remove the uterus, the ovaries, the upper part of the vagina, the rectum, and the presacral fascia and bone.
He's also finally removed the deadly tumour. It's massive. But after such extensive surgery, it's still an extremely critical time for Sharon. Within minutes of being born, Nick and Danielle's triplets, named Addison, Austin and Aurora, are struggling to breathe. A team of neonatal specialists are working at giving them their best chance at life.
The babies did not entirely behave like I thought they would. They had quite a bit of respiratory morbidity. They were breathing fast, they needed oxygen, they had respiratory distress, and that required some intervention from our side.
The tiny babies are transferred from the operating theatre to NICU in separate mini resuscitation units.
Our teams have just transitioned themselves into this work mode where we exactly know what we have to do, where we have the skills to help the babies transition.
Baby number one was baby number one in the room. This is Addison.
Addison, yeah.
She was born the first.
Yep.
At 8:45.
Okay.
Came out crying.
Yeah, that's great.
She was really feisty. Your baby's breathing by herself, but she needs to be supported.
Yep.
And that is baby number two.
Yeah, this is Austin.
He was the one that took the longest to establish proper feeds and to, saturate better. But we gave him the time, and we gave him a little bit longer on the CPAP and a little bit more oxygen. We're doing the same thing currently.
Yep.
But for Nick and Danny's precious triplets, it's a case of 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
And number three was number two in the room.
Yes.
If I understood that correctly.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And she is also on CPAP, and she, as you can see, also sucking a tiny little bit in her chest in. Is probably breathing also a bit fast. And might need a bit of oxygen too. But for the time being, it's your number one that needs most help.
Okay.
It's the morning after Sharon's 10-hour operation to remove a giant tumour spreading throughout her pelvic region.
Good morning. Hi,
Hello.
Jess.
Hello.
Morning,
Congratulations.
Sharon.
The man of the hour.
How are you?
Good.
Many of these patients take on average about 24 days to recover. They spend an average of 3 days in the intensive care unit. So it's a long recovery.
You comfortable?
Yeah. I've got a bit of pain in the pelvic area, but that's
To be expected, yeah. We were happy with the way things went yesterday.
Imagine.
The tumor came out with nice clear margins. Everything went according to plan. Most importantly, I put your tattoo back together.
I heard.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I remember was I put your tattoo back together.
With everything we do, we like you to start getting up and moving around quite quickly. And we know that if we can get you up, walking and out of bed, that it reduces the chances of you getting complications. For example, your chest infection or clots in your leg.
Yep.
Once they have recovered, in fact, many of these patients return to a reasonable quality of life where they can go back to work and do normal things.
I'm actually feeling really good. I can feel the difference already, so that's good.
It's still early days, but so far, so good.
Amazing.
See you tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care. See you,
Thank you
Jess.
so much.
Bye-bye.
A nurse herself, Sharon proves to be a model patient.
Yeah, okay. We can, maybe once we get into blue, we'll get rid of it and we can do the last bit without it.
Okay.
Look at you. Good work.
You've got to be cleared to be able to walk up and down stairs and all of that sort of thing before they let you go. So I've been extremely lucky. There have been no hiccups along the way. So it's good to get out of bed. It's been 6 days now.
Nearly 2 weeks after surgery, Sharon's chances of beating an aggressive cancer have climbed a long way from zero.
To 40 to 60%. Those are still pretty, scary odds, but I'm happy with them. The wound is beautifully healing. I might as well go home now and just have my own space, my own bed. You know, my grandkids can't come and visit me here. And when you get to this stage, you need to have people around you.
In a few months, Sharon could be back working on a ward herself. But for now, all she wants is to cuddle her grandkids.
See you, ladies.
Goodbye, Sam.
Danielle has just delivered rare triplets, 7 weeks premature.
Baby number one.
Identical twin girls, Addison and Aurora, and a little boy, Austin. But with all struggling to breathe, it's been a bumpy start.
They're going to attach them to what we call CPAP.
Yeah. CPAP stands for continuous positive airway pressure.
But it will be continuous on their face, and then we don't have to touch it.
Yeah. Okay.
Optimal respiratory support is important for our babies to survive.
But the firstborn, little Addison, is not improving.
CPAP might not be enough because it's hard work to breathe. The underlying cause is a lack in surfactant. And so sometimes what we need to do is replace the surfactant in the baby's lungs.
Surfactant is a naturally occurring protein which preemie babies often lack. It's vital to keeping their airways open.
We decided that Addison will need surfactant. So we are going to place a thin catheter into the baby's trachea and will instill surfactant over 2 minutes. And hopefully that will remedy the situation. Okay, laryngoscope out, surfactant's going in. Intubating a baby can be very difficult. You have to imagine all the anatomical structures are very, very fragile and very small. So you need to have a calm hand and be well prepared for all eventualities. Excellent. And now our work is done. We should leave the baby alone. I have to say, often once is not enough, and we might need to still give a second dose or escalate to ventilation.
Hello.
Danielle is still in recovery, so Nick gently brings her up to speed.
How are the babies? They're all right?
They're all right. They're doing some... they've got to put a catheter down into their lungs and then put some drugs down in there.
Yeah.
That like two of them, the two girls are just struggling to breathe a little bit.
Oh, no.
But, yeah, it just, I don't know.
They've got some increased worker breathing, so they didn't need it initially, and now the doctors feel that she might need it, or they might all need it, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're giving us lots of things that we can manage.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
The parents know that you are doing everything for their baby, that you are there when they can't be. What you are working for is to reunite this family whenever possible.
I'm proud of you, babe.
Thank you. You did it. I just want them to be okay.
It's been an exhausting time for both Danielle and Nick, and it's not over yet. The next 48 hours are crucial, but with around-the-clock care, her precious babies could not be in better hands.